parents and students. So before I start this video, I wanted to kind of take a moment to explain what this weekly video series is going to be. There's kind of a two-part. There's one where I will explain some type of second grade skill that your child could be practicing at home. And the other video will be some type of challenge work that your child could be working on at home. But I want to make two things really clear. First, that this is completely optional. It is not a part of the official AMI packet. And the other thing that I want to make clear is that because this is challenge work, it goes above the expectations of second graders. So I want you to understand that if your child attempts any of these and is struggling, please don't be worried, because this is really more third grade work. And so if your child would like the challenge, that's great. But if they're struggling, please don't worry. It's really okay to be in second grade and not quite understand these problems. But without further ado, I'm going to kind of jump in to today's work and how this is going to work. The way that it will work is that on Mondays, I will go over some type of difficult skill, and there will be a problem in the video. And then for the rest of the week, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday on Google Classroom, I will post an optional challenge problem that goes with the theme of Monday's video. So the theme of today's video, if you haven't been able to tell yet, is elapsed time. So students, do you know what elapsed time means? It's okay if you don't. It's a third grade skill. But what elapsed time refers to is just like the passage of time. Like if you start at one activity at a certain time, do certain things, and then what time would it be after those activities are done? And you'll notice that elapsed time is probably something that you ask your parents questions about a lot. Like say it's 2 o'clock and you're driving in the car and you say, "Are we there yet?" And your parent might have to think in their head about how much time is left before your destination, and they give you an answer. That is working on elapsed time. So I'm going to go ahead and read this problem to you guys. I'm going to move my head so you can see. It says, Billy starts his chores at 7:30 a.m. So a.m. is in the morning. So I list his chores for you. It says clean bedroom, 25 minutes, walk dog, 30 minutes, rake leaves, 15 minutes. What time will Billy finish? So he's starting these activities at 7:30 a.m. He has to do all of these different activities, and then I want to know what time he will finish. So in a moment, I'm going to let you try this, but before I do have an important question. And that question is, how many minutes are in an hour? 60. So I'm going to go ahead and write that note on the board, because that's definitely something that you would need to know to solve a problem like this. 1 hour equals 60 minutes. So what I'm going to have you do in a moment is solve this problem. And parents, if your child makes a mistake, I would actually like you to just let them make this mistake and solve this problem however they think they would like to. And then when you're done and you unpause this video, I will show you 2 different ways that you could solve this problem. And maybe my strategies will match up with yours, and maybe they won't, but that's okay. So go ahead and pause this video and do your best to solve this problem. Alrighty, are you back with me? I am actually going to grab 2 different expo markers so it keeps all of the work really clear. So one strategy that you can use when you're solving an elapsed time problem, oops, just got to put these down, is to first add up all of the minutes from the activities in your story. And when you're adding up these minutes, a common mistake that I see people make is that they try to make the number 100, because usually when we're adding or subtracting, we're always looking for friendly numbers and trying to make the number 100. But it's important to remember that when you're working with elapsed time, your friendly number isn't 100. Your friendly number is 60, because you're really trying to make an hour. So when I look over here, I'm going to try and really think strategically as I put these numbers together. So I'm going to start with these 2 numbers right here. I'm going to say 25 minutes plus 30 minutes gets me to 55 minutes. And I'm going to make sure, I should really actually put this over here to put an M. It's always a good idea when you're working with elapsed time to label whether or not you're working with minutes or with hours. So once I get to 25 minutes, I notice that I'm really close to making what? To making an hour. So I already solved my 25 and 30. So now I'm going to take this 5 out of the 15 and add it over here to say that 55 minutes plus 5 minutes gets me to 60 minutes or 1 hour, which leaves me how much more? 10 minutes. So once I add that, I have 1 hour and 10 minutes. That is how long Billy spent on his activities. So now that I've figured out the total length of his activities, do you know what I do with that number? I'm going to take those minutes and that hour and add it to the time that I started. So I'm gonna write a little bit bigger to make sure that you guys can see. If I start at 7:30 and I add 1 hour, think in your think tank. What's going to change? Is the 30 going to change or the 7? Which one of these numbers is talking about the hour? The 7 is. So now that gets me to 8:30. And I can even underline this to keep track of my work. And then I also have to add my 10 minutes. So 8:30 plus 10 minutes, remembering I'm labeling whether or not I add minutes or hours to help myself keep track of my thinking. So 30 minutes plus 10 minutes. Think in your think tank. 30 plus 10 is 40. So now it is 8:40. If I don't have enough room, I'm going to write it right here. 8:40 a.m. So listen, if you got a different answer, that's okay. Mistakes are proof that you are learning. We're going to go ahead and I'm going to show you one other way you could have solved this problem. But maybe there was a way that I didn't even think of. So this way of solving the problem had you adding up all of the minutes and then adding that number to the time. The other way you could do it is in chunks. So I'll show you what I mean by that. I'm going to kind of draw a line here so we can keep track of our work. What I mean by that is I'm going to take my 7:30 and I'm going to add these numbers to it step by step by step. But here's the thing. Instead of just going in order, meaning going 25 first, then 30, then 15, I'm going to think to myself, how can I get to a friendly number? Now in class, you're probably used to getting to a friendly number like a 10 or 100, but when you're working with elapsed time, your friendly number is the next o'clock. So if I'm at 7:30, my next o'clock is 8 o'clock. Do you guys know which one of these numbers will get me to 8 o'clock? Think about that a second. What number, 25, 30, or 15 will get me to the next o'clock? 30 minutes. So I can even underline my 30 to keep track of my work. And I'm going to say that 7:30 plus 30 minutes gets me to 8 o'clock. And what I'm going to do next is pick my next biggest number, 25, and say 8 o'clock plus 25 gets me to, it's going to come down over here, gets me to 8:25. And for the 15, some of you might want to just go ahead and add your 15, and you can, but I think, oh, forgot to underline that 25. I think I'm going to break up my 15 into that 5 and 10. So if I'm at 8:25, if I say 8:25 plus 5 minutes, that gets me to, what is 8:25 plus 5 minutes? 8:30. Which means that after I take my 5 from 15, I still need to add my 10. So 8:30 plus 10 gets me to, I have to come down over here, 8:40 a.m. I got the same answer. So listen, it's not that one of these strategies is better than the other. They're just different. And it's possible that with some problems, adding all of your numbers together first and then adding or subtracting them would work best, or maybe doing it in chunks. Which also brings me to one other little note about this problem. Today's elapsed time problem was an addition problem, but I want you to understand it can be subtraction. So like, I'll give you an example just verbally of a subtraction problem would be, I could say like, you finished watching your movie at 7 p.m. If it's an hour and a half long, what time was it when you started? So you'll notice this goes in reverse, meaning that I tell you what time he starts his activities and I'm asking you when he finished. I'm going to say that problem again and you can see it's the opposite. If you finish a movie at 7 p.m. and the movie is an hour and a half long, what time did you start? So I'm just telling you that for kind of a heads up because not all of the elapsed time problems that I post on Google Classroom are going to be addition problems. They might be subtraction. So thank you guys for stretching your brains with me. And if I could give you just any other tip about working these problems, it's just to remember, like I said earlier, mistakes are proof that you are trying. And I want you to remember that this goes beyond second grade expectations. So it's okay if you're thinking like, man, this is hard, because you are going to have all of third grade to work on this skill. Alrighty. Thank you. Bye.